avoided this for 14 years of my career, hiding behind the excuse, which looked very relevant and which you can still argue was relevant, but I still think, it could have been worked that, oh, the market is moving too fast. Imagine working in telecom or e-commerce or, there's a lot of price war happening. There are five players, everybody's changing, and no, we cannot stick to one set of rules because rules are changing every day, and you will have all these buzzwords, oh, the market landscape is changing, the fundamentals of business are changing. But when you really step back, zoom out, take a helicopter view, and you realize, guys, it is not changing that much. It is still providing a service to a customer for the product, and you need to price that product. It's not like something is fundamentally very different that um, you're not charging for it or whatever. You're not an ad-based model or whatever. It's still you're charging for the service, and you're providing it. So, and I hardly did it, right? And now when I realize, especially coming in companies like Amazon, whatever I see, it is very, very useful to write, because what happens is that, when you're writing your pricing principles, you are really rethinking your whole business model, because it forces you to rethink your business model. It requires, it is not something that you can say, okay, I will hire an intern and this guy will write or girl will write the pricing principle. It has to come from the top leadership. Essentially, you have your business principles written as well, and ideally these business principles, whatever those 5 or 6 principles that you have on your own business, should drive your pricing principles. But hence, here, since we're focusing solely on pricing, I'm just telling you, it's so important to write it, because it it tells you, it becomes like a constitution for you to see that, if you are doing something right or wrong, if you're having debates, if you are discussing trade-offs, this should, the litmus test is that if this is good enough, if you have written it good enough, going back to that principles will tell you what to do in that trade-off situation. It's not something that tells you what to do tactically. I'm not talking about, the principle should say, if competition drops price by 20%, I should also drop 25%, or if I need to grow 15%, I should do that. It's not about that. It's about, again, just think of it like a constitution, a legal document that is vague, but at the same time it is specific in a way that it guides the decision making. It tells you what is right, what is wrong for your business. And I'm not telling you what are the right pricing principles, and that's why I said in the beginning that I might disappoint you by not telling you, because it varies from business to business. You could have a lot of different ways to say it, but it to think about it. For example, our pricing has to be transparent, and we will have no fine prints. Once you agree to it, and people who are in telco, who do a lot of fine prints, would realize, once you agree to it, you it's a simple thing. When you state it, once you agree to it, it's very, very difficult to execute, and hence it forces you. If you really, as a leadership team, believes that, guys, this is a unique proposition, we need to make sure that we are transparent, because this is our brand personality, this is our business rule. We are a transparent company, we don't want to overcharge customers, we don't want them to get surprises, and you write it, and then you make it sure that you follow it. Then your pricing, the outcome of pricing decisions would be very different than what you would do now. And that, to me, is very, very critical, right? And it could be, saying, guys, my pricing should be transparent, but it need not be simple. you know Sometimes we put the two words in the same thing, but it's like, okay, I can have a complex pricing structure, but it should be transparent for the person who's using it. Maybe you should give them tools to understand what pricing, like B2C, the tools could be, these apps and everything. B2B, we talk about, widgets and everything, which an Uber driver or an Amazon seller or an Airbnb host could see, okay, so these are the days where I'm charging high, these are the days where I'm charging low. So if these many days people would stay in here, so you can really predict what is your profit going to be, for a B2B environment, is something that you can take as a pricing principle. Your pricing principle could also be, I would offer the lowest price. You know, I would always offer the lowest price, just like, Walmart used to have everyday low prices, whatever. And then once you decide it, And the reason I'm saying it needs to come from the top is that, you don't have that unnecessary pressure. Once you decide it, you stick to it. You have a very clear ambition, and you have a very hard path to follow. Because then you cannot come and say, guys, okay, but we have this quarterly result coming out, or we have this investor pitch coming in, and maybe we need to show some more revenue, so at least not be lowest on these set of products, because we want to make some money. And you end up realizing that you are actually doing that. And then you do it for one, then you create another exception for other, and then you realize that you are a confused company where you had a written pricing principle, you never followed it. So when I say spending time, it could take months to write it. It should be, everybody should extract the same meaning out of it. uh, Make sure, if you commit to it, no decision outside the written principles, and you don't take any exceptions. And because it's not a word of God, so you could have been wrong when you decided. At least you did your best effort, and then you say, guys, maybe we missed this point. Then you take it as an exercise again with the same time and effort to really rethink your constitution on pricing.